You can transform your car to be faster, more powerful, and more responsive with upgrades that are banned, highly controversial, but undeniably effective. These aren't for the faint of heart. Done right, they can significantly boost horsepower, improve performance, and deliver an exhilarating driving experience. But not everyone dares to try, as they come with legal and technical risks. And be warned, the last upgrade is so potent that even professional tuners debate it, and police are trained to spot it. Comment number 1 and like this video, and I'll reveal something even more shocking. 10. Catalytic converter delete. The catalytic converter delete, or removing the cat, is one of the most controversial upgrades in the car tuning world. Technically, the catalytic converter is designed to reduce harmful emissions, helping your car meet environmental standards. But it also creates a bottleneck in the exhaust system, restricting airflow and indirectly limiting engine power. Removing it frees up the exhaust flow almost instantly, letting the engine breathe better, rev faster, and respond more sharply to the throttle. Many drivers report a noticeable horsepower boost from the first press of the gas pedal. However, this isn't a harmless mod. In most U.S. states, removing the catalytic converter is illegal, leading to hefty fines or even orders to restore the original setup during inspections. It also increases harmful emissions, creates a stronger raw fuel smell, and can be a nuisance in residential areas. If you're set on trying it, consider a high-flow catalytic converter instead. It improves exhaust flow while staying legal in many areas. This is a double-edged sword upgrade, and it's why police are trained to spot it the moment you drive by. 9. ECU tuning for emissions defeat. ECU tuning for emissions defeat, or tuning the ECU to bypass emissions checks, is a trick car enthusiasts know treads a fine legal line. The ECU, your car's brain, is programmed to meet strict emission standards. But with custom software, you can disable or reduce these limits, unlocking the engine's full potential. The result? Significant horsepower gains, near-instant throttle response, and a much livelier driving feel. Some tunes even eliminate turbo lag, making the car surge powerfully even at low RPMs. But the cost is steep. In many U.S. states, tampering with the ECU to cheat emissions tests is illegal, with fines reaching thousands of dollars. Plus, sloppy tuning can lead to overheating, higher fuel consumption, and faster engine wear. For tuners, this is a double-edged sword. It delivers incredible performance but carries legal and technical risks. If you want to try it, find a reputable tuner, understand your local laws, and be ready for the fact that one OBD scan can expose everything. 8. Cold air intake MAF sensor mod. The cold air intake paired with an MAF sensor mod is what seasoned car enthusiasts call the cheapest way to make your car breathe better and feel faster. Essentially, engines love cool, oxygen-rich air. A cold air intake pulls air from a cooler area outside the engine bay, instead of the hot air near the engine. A drop of a few dozen degrees in air temperature can increase oxygen density, improving combustion efficiency, boosting horsepower, and sharpening throttle response. But that's just the start. The MAF sensor, measuring airflow into the engine, dictates how the ECU adjusts the air-fuel mix. Modifying or tweaking the MAF to read higher airflow tricks the ECU into injecting more fuel, creating a richer mix for more power. The result? That choked feeling vanishes, and acceleration becomes seamless, especially in mid to high RPMs. The catch: in some U.S. states, modifying the MAF to bypass emission standards or using a non-carb certified intake is illegal. Plus, if not calibrated properly, you might trigger a check engine light or experience jerky performance due to an incorrect air-fuel ratio. Modern ECUs with self-adjusting algorithms can also reduce the mod's effectiveness without proper software tuning. From my experience, to make this mod truly effective, invest in a high-quality, certified cold air intake and pair it with professional ECU tuning instead of just tricking the MAF. This boosts performance, minimizes legal risks, and protects engine longevity. And remember, an experienced emissions inspector can spot this mod with one glance under the hood. So think carefully before deciding to let your car breathe deeper. Resonator and muffler delete. The resonator and muffler delete, what car enthusiasts jokingly call letting your car speak its true voice, is a bold modification. Resonators and mufflers are designed for one main purpose: to lower exhaust noise to a polite level and eliminate harsh frequencies. They keep your car quiet, meet noise regulations, and keep the neighbors happy. But they also restrict exhaust flow, slightly reducing engine performance and throttle response. Removing the resonator and muffler allows exhaust gases to flow almost freely, reducing back pressure and letting the engine breathe better at high RPMs. The result is livelier acceleration, a deep, aggressive exhaust roar, and a race car-like sound on the street. Many drivers notice faster revs, sharper throttle response, and even more gains when paired with mods like a cold air intake or ECU tune. But there's a downside to this game. In many US states, removing the muffler or resonator violates noise and emission standards, leading to hefty fines or orders to revert to stock during inspections. Some areas, like California, have strict noise laws with fines reaching hundreds of dollars, and police can pull you over just for an overly loud exhaust. Plus, without mufflers, cabin noise can spike, especially on long drives, fatiguing both driver and passengers. Technically, a poorly executed delete can cause drone, a constant humming at certain RPMs that makes driving less pleasant. The solution is to use a properly designed exhaust system with the right materials and pipe diameter, or replace the muffler resonator with performance versions instead of removing them entirely. This video was made to make your life better, so don't hold back on giving it a like. 6. Fuel System Return Line Mod. The Fuel System Return Line mod may sound like a minor tweak, but it's a subtle upgrade that makes the engine respond smoother and more consistently, especially for high-performance or heavily modified cars that run at high RPMs. Most modern cars use a returnless fuel system, where fuel pressure is regulated in the tank or near the pump, then sent directly to the injectors. This reduces fuel circulation, limits evaporation, and meets emission standards. But it can cause unstable fuel pressure during sudden engine load changes, especially in tuned cars, turbo setups, or high heat conditions. Adding or restoring a fuel return line allows excess fuel to flow back to the tank. This keeps pressure at the injector rail steady, reducing the risk of a lean air-fuel mix when you floor the gas. For high-performance engines, this means smoother revs, sharper throttle response, and better power delivery at high RPMs. Plus, a return line keeps fuel cooler by circulating it constantly, preventing fuel vapor lock, when overheated fuel evaporates in the lines, causing power loss or stalling. This is common in cars driven in hot climates or during long races. But this mod isn't legal everywhere. Some states and countries ban fuel system alterations due to leak or emissions concerns. If done poorly, using low-quality hoses, fittings, or pressure regulators, you risk fire hazards or serious leaks. And naturally, this changes the car's original setup, potentially failing emissions tests or voiding warranties. My advice: if you do this mod, use an adjustable fuel pressure regulator and high-pressure hoses, and have it installed by a pro experienced with performance fuel setups. Done right, you'll get a car that responds instantly, stays cooler, and avoids power dips during overtaking or hard acceleration. Done wrong, you're trading for risks and big repair bills. 5. Airbag suspension conversion. Airbag suspension conversion, or air suspension, is one of the most controversial yet captivating upgrades. It's not just about slamming the car to the ground or raising it in seconds. It completely transforms how the car handles the road. In stock setups, most cars use steel springs or torsion bars, which are stiff and have a fixed height. Air suspension replaces these with flexible airbags, inflated or deflated via a compressor and control valves. With a button press, you can raise the car to clear potholes, climb hills, or enter parking lots, then lower it for better aerodynamics, less drag, and improved grip at high speeds. For car enthusiasts, the appeal is also visual. A car slammed to the ground when parked looks cool and unique, turning heads. For practical drivers, air suspension offers a smoother ride, especially on rough roads, as air pressure can be adjusted to absorb shocks optimally. You can carry heavy loads without the car sagging, maintaining proper ground clearance and balance. But this flexibility is why air suspension is banned or restricted in some places. Certain states and countries mandate minimum ride heights for safety, and air suspension can violate this if lowered too much on the road. Plus, if installed poorly, the system can leak air, deflate bags, or lose pressure suddenly while driving, posing a safety risk. Cost is another hurdle. A quality air suspension kit with electronic controls can cost thousands to tens of thousands of dollars, not including installation. Repairs require specialized mechanics and parts, making maintenance pricier than traditional suspensions. 4. Variable valve timing elimination. Variable valve timing, VVT. Elimination, or disabling the variable valve timing system, is one of the most extreme upgrades that car enthusiasts both love and fear. For performance junkies, it simplifies the engine to focus purely on power within a specific RPM range. But for experienced mechanics, it's a double-edged sword that can make your car faster or ruin it quickly if done wrong. VVT is designed by manufacturers to balance two goals: power and fuel efficiency. At low RPMs, it ensures smooth operation and better gas mileage. At high RPMs, it adjusts valve timing to increase air intake and exhaust flow, boosting horsepower. Eliminating VVT locks the valve timing at a fixed point, usually optimized for high RPMs, resulting in quicker throttle response and a sharper, more aggressive driving feel. For race cars or tow vehicles, this can be a game changer. The engine no longer compromises between efficiency and power, channeling all its performance into maximum horsepower within the desired RPM range. The result is faster revs, a raw and intense engine sound, and a driving experience like commanding a pure power machine. But this is why VVT elimination is illegal in many areas. Without VVT, the engine often exceeds emission standards, since valve timing isn't optimized across all RPMs. Plus, running at high RPMs constantly increases heat and stress on engine components, shortening lifespan without supporting upgrades like enhanced cooling, high-performance oil, or specialized camshafts. The cost of VVT elimination isn't as high as other mods, but the risks are significant. Mechanics must retune the ECU and ensure the intake, exhaust, ignition, and lubrication systems are perfectly synced. A sloppy job can cause engine knocking, loss of low-end torque, or even catastrophic engine failure after just a few thousand miles. If this tip saves you money, comment number 2. 3. Straight pipe exhaust with bypass valves. Straight pipe exhaust with bypass valves, or a straight-through exhaust with switchable valves, is an upgrade that sparks endless debates among neighbors, police, and car enthusiasts. Essentially, it's an almost unrestricted exhaust system that lets gases flow directly from the engine to the outside, bypassing the catalytic converter and muffler, while incorporating valves to toggle between quiet mode and roaring mode. When the valves are closed, exhaust flows through a muffler or stock system, keeping noise low and street legal. But when open, the engine's raw sound is unleashed. For V8 or V12 engines, this isn't just loud. It's sharp, aggressive, and feels like standing in the pit lane of a racetrack. Plus, removing nearly all exhaust restrictions reduces back pressure, improves flow, and can add a few horsepower, especially at high RPMs, while sharpening throttle response. Speed enthusiasts love straight pipe exhausts with bypass valves for their versatility. Quiet for the daily commute, but one button press delivers race car sound and power. Some systems even offer Bluetooth control, letting you open the valves via your phone or sync with driving modes. But the cost isn't just financial. In many U.S. states, running in straight pipe mode on public roads is illegal due to excessive noise and bypassing emissions controls. Police can issue hefty fines if they catch you with open valves in a residential area. Plus, unfiltered exhaust produces a strong raw fuel smell and darker emissions, which those behind you won't appreciate. Technically, poorly designed or installed bypass valves can get stuck open or closed, causing leaks or loss of exhaust pressure. This not only hurts performance, but can make your car rattle annoyingly. 2. Manual transmission swap. Manual transmission swap, or converting from an automatic to a manual gearbox, is one of the most technical and personality-driven upgrades you can do to your car. For many drivers, the feel of pressing the clutch, shifting gears, and controlling RPMs creates a direct connection with the machine under the hood. But it's not just about driving feel. A manual swap can make your car more durable, lighter, and sometimes more powerful on the track. The reason many choose a manual swap is that a manual gearbox lets you maximize engine power across all RPM ranges, especially with naturally aspirated or high-performance turbo engines. Automatic transmissions, while convenient, have shift delays and often limit RPMs to protect components. With a manual, you decide exactly when to shift, keeping RPMs high for acceleration or downshifting quickly to overtake. Mechanically, a manual swap involves replacing the transmission, adding a clutch pedal assembly, swapping the drive shaft, reprogramming or replacing the ECU, and sometimes modifying the floor pan to fit the new shifter. For modern cars, this is complex due to electronic systems monitoring the transmission, requiring deep knowledge and the right parts. The benefits go beyond performance. Manual transmissions have simpler designs, with fewer hydraulic or electronic parts to fail, making long-term maintenance cheaper and better suited for high-torque loads if you choose the right gearbox. Many track-focused sports cars stick with manuals for this durability. Plus, a swap can reduce overall weight by ditching the heavier components of an automatic and its fluid cooling system. But there are downsides. In some U.S. states, changing the transmission from the registered stock setup can cause inspection failures or insurance issues. If the swap isn't done right, the engine and transmission may not mesh well, leading to rapid clutch wear or jerky driving. Also, in heavy urban traffic, driving a manual daily can be tiring, especially in stop-and-go conditions. 1. ECU reflash for racing fuel, E85 or 100 plus octane. ECU reflash for racing fuel or reprogramming the engine control unit for high-performance fuels like E85 or 100 plus octane gas is an upgrade that can turn a tame car into a true beast. The ECU is programmed for safe operation with standard gasoline, limiting compression ratios, ignition timing, and fuel delivery to match regular fuel. But with racing fuel, you unlock the engine's potential in ways manufacturers never dared for street use. E85, with 85% ethanol, has a much higher octane rating than regular gas, allowing earlier ignition timing, higher boost pressure, and cooler combustion chambers, reducing knock risk. This lets you safely push power levels significantly higher. Meanwhile, 100 plus octane fuel, designed for race cars, handles high compression, enabling the ECU to optimize fuel maps and ignition for maximum power across a wider RPM range. A good reflash doesn't just boost horsepower, it sharpens throttle response, extends the RPM limit, and optimizes the air-fuel mix at every gear. For turbocharged cars, the ECU can be tuned to sustain higher boost, longer, or even raise the boost limit, fully exploiting the turbo's potential. This process requires specialized software and deep tuning expertise. A skilled tuner analyzes data from knock sensors, boost pressure, air-fuel ratio, AFR, and intake air temperature to fine-tune each parameter. A sloppy job with racing fuel can burn pistons, bend connecting rods, or destroy the engine after just a few hard throttle pulls. Also, E85 burns faster than regular gas, meaning a shorter range per tank. The fuel system, from pump to lines to injectors, must be ethanol compatible to avoid corrosion. And 100 plus octane fuel isn't always easy to find, with limited availability and high costs. The value here isn't just power, it's knowledge. Understanding the mechanics, pros, cons, and impacts of each upgrade lets you make smart choices, picking what fits your needs and maximizing performance while keeping your car reliable and legal for its purpose. So, if it were you, which of these 10 upgrades would you dare try to turn your car into a true monster? Share in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to catch more exciting car tips.